Weight Loss 101, as simple as can be. I hold 2 diplomas in personal training and I've studied nutrition. There is no one on earth who actually knows exactly how the body works with weight loss, but we know enough. We know enough. And number one, I just want to share with you, let's just draw a stick figure here. Your body is made of bones. So here's the bones. Then on top of your bones, you've got your muscles, your muscles, your legs, your feet. Okay, so you've got bone and then muscle, and then over that, you pile on fat. So your fat goes over your bone. Yes, you get intramuscular fat and you get visceral fat, but in general, you're going to have bone, then muscle, and then your fat on top of your muscle. And that is what we want to lose when we want to get in shape and we want to get lean and look good and show off our muscles, is the layer of fat surrounding everything. So we all have abs. We all have abs. They're just hidden by the fat layer. And so it's not like you need to get abs. You've got them already. The actual truth is you want to reveal your abs, or you want to show off the muscle that you've got and to look toned, this word that women use, toned. Part of it is to create muscle hardness and fullness, especially the older we get, the more soft even the muscle becomes. Everything softens with age. But you also want to get the fat off so that you can see the muscle, and that gives this toned look that women talk about. Now, our bodies are not stupid. Our bodies are evolved and designed to obviously want to keep the muscle, preserve the muscle, because muscle is functional. It's what keeps you alive. The fat is the storage vehicle. And now you can burn muscle if you excessively train, if you are anorexic, if you are just depleted and your body has no other fuel. Yes, it will turn to muscle, but don't worry about burning muscle by going on a diet. I hate the fact that people, I don't want to burn my muscle. I don't want to burn my muscle. The only way to lose fat is to go on a diet and restrict in some way. You have to restrict calories in some way. So think of your fat as a sink. This is the sink, and this is your fat cell. And you're going to have a tap over here. Okay, there's a tap, not a great one. Okay, there's the sink. And to fill up your fat cell, you need to turn on the tap, and the water is all the food you consume. That will fill up the fat, fill up the fat, fill up the fat, fill up the fat cell. So think of your fat cell like a sink of water. You've turned the water on, you're filling it up. So that's how you gain fat, is you're turning on the tap, taking in the energy. It's the water flowing in. To get rid of the water, you need to pull out the plug. So the plug comes out. Here's the plug. And now the water can flow out. So what things can we do? What can we do to pull the plug? Let's say pull the plug, which will trigger the fat loss. To release the fat, number one, you can exercise or move more. Exercise, move. That is a plug pull. Also, what you could do is you could turn off the tap as well, or so you turn off the tap, which is eat less. You could eat less. Do you see where I'm going with this? Weight loss, fat loss. It is simple. To pull the plug, you could, you really have one option, is to burn more calories. Now, the body is always in a state of, obviously, you're always eating. You will die if you don't eat. It's always in the state of water going in, and the plug is always being pulled because you're always moving throughout the day, whether you are doing it formally or not. You're always moving throughout the day. So you have 2 options when it comes to fat loss: diet and exercise. They both work together, hand in hand, but it really is as simple as eat less and move more. And I know people hate that. They don't want it to be simple because then they feel like, oh no, there's no more excuses left. In reality, there are a few things that contribute to this. So to pull the plug, you could also check your hormones. Let's just make space there. You could do your hormones. Now, the only hormone that I've heard of, and I'm not a doctor, but I watch a lot of these videos, I read as many studies as I can, the only hormone that significantly impacts your fat storage and your metabolism and your ability to burn more energy is your thyroid. And I know all the perimenopausal ladies are going to say, well, what about estrogen? And what about being in menopause and perimenopause? I agree. There is something to that stage of our lives, ladies, that makes it quite, we do tend to pack on weight, but it's not the hormones themselves. I believe, this is my opinion. I'm testing it on myself. It's what I'm going through. I'm in perimenopause. I believe that having your hormones balanced, so being on HRT or whatever it is, it doesn't make you gain or lose weight, but it can help you adhere to diet and exercise because you just feel better. Now, I would say estrogen, get it checked, because what I think is that when your estrogen is low, the female body does want to store body fat because body fat itself, belly fat, releases estrone, which is a type of estrogen, estrone. And the estrogen that we lose, though, in perimenopause and menopause is estradiol. It's the active one, it's the healthy one, it's the one we want. The estrone is associated with body fat, so we don't really want excess estrone. However, it's not really the hormones. So to pull the plug, you can move around more and you can fidget, you can walk, you can exercise, you can weight train. You can check your hormones, particularly your thyroid hormone. If it's sluggish, if you've got a hormone antibodies, you can do a test for that. I would also check sex hormones just to make sure you are running optimally. But the sex hormones themselves, if you just slap a patch of estrogen on a lady and she doesn't change her diet and exercise, she's not going to lose the weight. It's just not going to happen. There is no one who, if they're eating a certain way and they continue that way and you slap a hormone patch on them, it's not going to affect their weight. You still need to do the things. And turning off the tap is the thing you can do. What else can you do? I mean, that's really it, is you want to shrink these fat cells. You want to take some of the water out of them. Now, you cannot eat nothing. You have to eat something. So let's look at turning off the tap, because that is easier than pulling the plug, because for a lot of us, it's hard to fit in exercise. So to eat less, we can reduce our portions. Portion control, where you don't change the foods you're eating, but you eat less of them. So if you normally have a whole plate of spaghetti, macaroni, whatever it is, you can do 2/3, you can do half the portion control. You can do calorie restriction, where you simply counting and cutting back on calories. Calorie restriction. You can do low carb. You can do high carb, which would entail low fat. So you can play around with your macros and you can switch them around. But when you do this, you still need to reduce your calories. Otherwise, you're not going to lose weight. And there is a book I read, a very, very good book called Running in Silence, about this runner who started to go raw vegan, and then she went on this fruitarian diet. She only ate fruit. She gained weight because these fruitarians, which I think is nuts, told her to eat fruit until she was full. But of course, your body needs more than just fruit. And so she had these intense cravings. I mean, she wasn't getting any fat in her diet and no protein, and to just eat fruit. So she ate and ate and ate. She would eat in excess of 3,000 calories a day. She gained weight on fruit only. So You cannot think that you can just eat one food group and eat as much as you want on it and not gain weight. Any kind of diet you do, if you're not also watching the calories, or call it energy if you don't like the word calories, you probably will gain weight. The other thing you can do is a combination of eat less and move more, because if you only eat less but you're not moving much, you're going to have to cut back your calories to such an extent that you probably will feel deprived, hungry, the food is too little in order to lose weight. And you need to be active so that you can take in a bit more. And I think it's healthy. You don't want to completely cut back calories so low that it's not enough for functioning of your body. You need like a baseline amount of calories, otherwise you're not going to feel well. And in fact, I've been listening to studies where they showed that it's almost preferable to move more and eat a little bit more, but the eating is still, the energy is still less than the energy going out. So I think that that is a good way to do it, is to increase your movement. You don't have to go crazy. You don't want to increase your movement so much, though, that it now makes you hungry, because exercising a lot, weight training a lot, it can make you quite hungry. So you want to make sure that the movement you are doing is either like slow and steady cardio, which in my opinion, for me, doesn't increase my appetite, whereas going for a hard run, I feel more hungry. You've got to just balance that. And then while we're on the topic of hungry, let's just quickly discuss hunger as well, because any weight loss method, diet, whatever, you will feel hungry. Why? Because as you are triggering fat loss, your body's like, oh, there is less energy coming in than before, or there's less energy coming in than what I can use to maintain this size. And it triggers hunger. Of course it will. I think it's a myth that we can diet without feeling hungry. It is a myth. You will have periods where you feel hunger. That is the way you know that the diet is working. It's your body telling you, I'm getting in less than before. I'm getting in less than what I can use to maintain this size and weight. And it's a biological drive. Of course, it's a biological drive. Your hunger keeps you alive. If you didn't eat, you would die. So what we need to do is just use our rational brain to override that primitive like drive to eat. Not to the extent that you're miserable, but there's a small hunger that you can ride that wave. And in the next video, I will go on into the psychology of dieting and hunger and all that. But you need to understand that to lose weight, there will be periods of hunger, and you can ride that wave. You could also do fasting. In terms of eating less, that's another thing I didn't cover. But fasting, where it's another method of calorie restriction, is to fast. Because you are now just going longer periods without food, whether you're fasting for a day, 2 days, half the day, whatever it is, it's still calorie restriction. You can break it down any way you want, but any method that allows you to lose weight, you have cut back your calories. You need to learn, prepare for hunger, deal with it, prepare for it. Remember that feeling hungry is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. It's not a signal that something is wrong. It's a signal that something is working. And so your psychology, you need to be prepared for those moments. You need to plan for it. You need to go into the fat loss diet phase with, and I mean, whether you're on it for like as a lifestyle or not, you're going to feel the hunger, drop the weight, and then you're going to need to just feed yourself a bit to replenish, and then you can carry on dieting again. But you need to find strategies to just, whether it's just mentally telling yourself, this is okay, I will get through it. Some days you might be more hungry than others, depending on what you've done, your stress level, how you've moved. But remember that weight loss, in a nutshell, 101, is energy coming in needs to be just a little bit less than the energy that's going out, so that it triggers or takes that plug. That's the plug there. You're pulling the plug on that sink. You have to. That is the only way you can do it. So Doesn't matter what your age is, your stage, your hormones. Other than thyroid, get it checked. But for most of us, our thyroids are actually fine. There are some of us, like me, whose thyroid is low. But interestingly enough, even with thyroid, so I don't want you to get your knickers in a knot that it could be your thyroid. Even when my thyroid was low, I was successfully keeping my weight at basically what it is now, or even less. I was lean. So yes, your thyroid can be low and you can start to feel like crap. I think that's what happened with me. I started to feel not so great, but I actually didn't gain weight because I'm pretty, I don't know if strict is the word, but I'm pretty good with keeping my diet reasonable. I don't, in general, overeat. I try and watch, in general, what I eat. I allow myself the foods I enjoy. I take diet breaks, but I'm always keeping like a balance and a check. And that's how you need to think of it. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you that you could lose weight and eat all the foods you want and never, ever, ever feel hungry. But that is not the case. The truth is, you have to restrict in some way, whatever form works for you, but you have to cut back, whether it's you're going to do the macro, if it fits your macros, you're going to just track your food, you're going to eat healthy whole foods, which I think is the best way. So let's also just look at quickly the best way, in my humble opinion, to diet the best is, number one, make sure your protein needs are being met. Protein needs. The reason you need to make sure your protein needs are being met is because you don't want to waste any muscle. So keeping your protein up provides your body with all the amino acids it needs to repair and build. And then your body doesn't have to turn to its own muscle. So keep your protein up. And this is lean, clean sources of protein. A fillet, a chicken breast, a clean piece of fish. Don't drown it in oil. Don't drown it in butter. Then number two, fiber. We need fiber. It's been proven for longevity, for gut health, all the things. So longevity and gut health, fiber, very important. I saw this firsthand when I tried the carnivore diet and it did not work for me. I just had the runs. Clearly my gut microbiome just, I don't know what happened. It just was not happy. So you're going to fill up with protein. You're going to fill up with fiber. And these are both good for you. Make sure your protein, if you can, it's organic, grass-fed, all the good things. So non-starchy vegetables, all the good things. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, spinach, kale, asparagus, green beans. I don't know, there's mushrooms, whatever. Mushrooms, very good, a whole lot. Then number three, whole grain from nature sources of carbs. So again, get your carbs from as healthy a source as possible. Sweet potato, more the brown rice if you must, pulses, anything, but just make sure it's as close to nature as possible. Healthy fats, you find you don't need to add too much fat. You can use olive oil, whatever, to cook, but a light coating. There are fats embedded in the protein in general. And you get fats if you eat fish. There's fat in the fish. You will get fats in, but like I said, use something, just a little bit of olive oil to cook. If you put milk in your tea and coffee, there's fat in there. Take an omega-3, that's also good. So if you are wanting to follow a diet, the best one is obviously close to nature, healthy food, but it's not the only way to fat loss. So you can lose fat by eating bad foods. That's a method. I don't think it's the healthiest way, but if you need to break from this because this is getting boring or whatever the case may be, or you're going out with friends, don't worry about it. Have a pizza, but have 2 slices, not the whole damn thing, because 2 slices of pizza probably contain more calories than you imagine. If you put it into a food tracker, you'll see like, oh my God, those 2 slices of pizza are like 2 meals worth, because they're loaded with cheese and there's fat and blah, blah, blah. So just be aware that there are many roads that lead to fat loss. There are optimal roads. There are different ways. You can pick and choose, but Fat Loss 101, really, I'm going to drum it into your head, fat loss 101 is, and I hate to say it, it is simple, but it is eat less, and you could stop there. You don't need to, but this is a bonus. Move more, because the moving more is pulling the plug on that sink. Remember the sink in the beginning? The movement is the plug pull to allow the fat out. The eat less is turning off the tap, okay? Turning off the tap, but you cannot turn the tap off completely or else you will die, because that's how you get your nutrients to stay alive. I hope that this explanation helped you. Keep it simple. Just remember, it really is that simple. Don't overcomplicate things. If you feel like you're not functioning well, check your hormones, but the hormones alone are not going to lead to weight loss. You still have to do the work, but the work is simple. It's not easy because there is hunger involved and cravings. The cravings, oh my God. So you need to learn to deal with that. We will talk about that in another video. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.